Hello, my name is Elora, and I'm a sober Black woman veteran, and I help other Black women veterans enter seeking sobriety to break free from survival mode so they can rebuild self trust in their everyday lives. So, why I'm doing this, I don't know. Anyway, glad you're here. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're not new here, I'm so glad you came back. It's been a minute. Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying subscribed and all that good stuff. So, anyway, let's get to it. This video is all about my first 90 days or some helpful tools for the first 90 days, okay? Because I don't know if you're here because you're thinking about sobriety, you've been sober for a minute, or you just, want to refresh your stuff, or you trying to find your footing again. This is the video for you, okay? And I'm going to be sharing some things that I actually did in my early days of sobriety and what still works for me today, 18 years later. Yay! Let's get into it. Tip number 1, letting go of perfection. I might just be stating the obvious on this one, but we gotta let go of perfection. And for me, my first 90 days, it was this thing of I gotta get it just right, or it's not gonna work. And secondly, it was also this mindset of instant gratification, like I need it to happen right now, And I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't the first time. And what I mean by not the first time, I mean I relapsed several times before I finally came to the point where I said, okay, I'm tired of this mess. I'm tired of the life I'm living. I'm ready to really do this thing. And when I finally did that, I got honest with myself. I said, okay, what do I need to do? I was open to things. I was surrendering to processes and what people were suggesting to me. But first and foremost, like I said, I might be stating the obvious here. Don't know. But I had to get honest with myself. Period. Like, Elora, whatever you were doing ain't working. Saying I'm gonna stop drinking for a day, it's gonna work out just fine. False. Okay, I'm gonna do this for a week. False. Okay, but I just stop for like 3 hours. False. I mean, I tried every little thing I could to stop drinking, but I had to get real with myself. Okay, I got an issue here. What do I need to do to step out of this? So that's tip number 1. Be honest with yourself. Let go of perfection, and don't compare yourself to other folk. Don't compare yourself to other folks' sobriety. But I'll get down there a little bit later. I don't know what this is. I keep doing this. Tip number 2, 90 meetings in 90 days. But do it your way. Here's what I'm talking about. So I'm sure you've heard of this before. This is not something that, I'm sharing that's brand spanking new. And if you haven't heard about it, yeah, I'm glad you're here to hear about it. And you're the first to hear it from me. Yay, yay. But anyway, the point is 90 meetings in 90 days is something that's been around for ages, okay? And it's all because when we have this routine of doing something for 30 days and that another 60 days and another 90 days, we get acclimated to a routine, right? Same thing goes for sobriety. However, for me, even though it was suggested at first, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, what are you talking about? That is a long time. I have to commit to something for 90 days. And I'm not even sure if I want to stop drinking. So that was the first time, right? But again, when I decided to finally say, okay, I need to do something different than what I've been doing, I was willing to do that. Okay, it's about willingness. So fast forward. So I decided to do 90 meetings in 90 days, and I'm going to return back to a story about the military. At the time, when I was in the military, I was required or mandated to go to 12-step programs. And the requirement was also that I get signatures, right? I had to get signed off and presented to the folks and counselors in the military, say, hey, see, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. That was basically it. I mean, that doesn't mean I was actually doing what I was supposed to do. I was just going to the meetings and getting signatures. It doesn't mean I was staying sober, okay? So fast forward, when I finally decided to say, okay, I'm tired of this mess, I got to do what I got to do. And before I got kicked out the military because of my drinking, I decided to get sober, okay? I got sober May 29th of 2007. I got kicked out in July of 2007. So before all that drama happened, I said, okay, I really need to commit to something, and I need to commit to myself. And that something is me, right? So what I did was take their idea of getting a notebook and having signatures, except it was for me. It wasn't for the military. It wasn't for anybody else. It wasn't for my mama, my grandma, and them. It was for Elora. my accountability to myself. And I still have that notebook to this day. Okay. I have journals, everything, but I still have that particular notebook that has signatures to this day. And what that did was hold me accountable. So 90 meetings in 90 days, but it doesn't have to be perfect attendance. You're not in school, okay? It's just about committing to yourself to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and attend meetings. I'm going to do my best to stay sober one day at a time, even if it means going to recovery meetings, 2 recovery meetings a day or 3 recovery meetings a day. You do whatever you got to do. But the point is, you have something tangible to look at to say, I'm committed. And you're like, buddy Laura, what if I just do online meetings? Okay, sure, you can do that. But I can also assure you that you can still do the same thing. There's something called Word Doc, Google Sheets, Excel. You know what I'm saying? Type in the day, make some little columns or, make a little document to say date, time, whatever. Date, time, person, or facilitator. Ask whoever is facilitating the meeting to initial or sign off on that document. I'm 99% sure that they'll do it. I know I will. I'll do it in my elorasong healing hub. Look, y'all asked me to do that in the community, in our community in the healing hub. I got you. But you need to be committed. They'll be using the hub talking about, yeah, I went to Elora's thing. You're not really, you just putting up front. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so those are 2 things that really helped, okay? But for me, back in the day, we didn't have Zoom and all that stuff and online meetings and stuff. So I had to go in person and I did what I had to do. So today, you got 2 options. So go ahead, take advantage of that. All right, tip number 2. Okay, tip number 3, which is accountability. I can say it. Accountability with discernment. Okay? Accountability with discernment. What do you mean by that, Elora? What I'm talking about is a partnership, accountability partner. You've probably heard of sponsorships or mentorship, even coaching, like elorasong, come visit. I'd love to work with you. But accountability partners are a powerful thing, okay? Yes, I mentioned in the last thing, be accountable to yourself for attending recovery meetings. However, you also need someone you could actually talk to and that can hold you accountable as far as sobriety. However, when I say discernment, you need a spirit of discernment of who you choose as a partner. Just like you do in regular relationships, you're trying to check them out and ask all 50 million questions. At least I do. I ask 50 million questions. But the point is, you need to make sure that they are all about sobriety, just like you are. Okay? And what I mean by that is, my personal experiences, I've had people that I've met that were absolutely awesome in sobriety, and I've also had to witness people go back out. And what that means is, that's a term that we use when we say we relapsed or began reoccurrence of our addiction. So sometimes when people go back out, they don't come back. And what I mean by that is they pass away. The addiction got a hold of them. And so I remember seeing that for myself in early sobriety, and it scared the mess out of me, y'all. Okay? So you want to make sure, I'll put it like this, why it scared me, because it was a reality check. Addiction is real. This stuff is not play. It does not discriminate. I don't care if you black, white, brown, green, purple, blue. It's going to get you. Okay? So when we have accountability partners or mentorships or coaching involved to help people evolve in this thing and turn it away and acknowledge that we have this concerning issue, but turn it away and start to live a new life, we need a support system and people around us that will hold us accountable and grow with us and understand who understand what you're going through. Okay, not just some mom and dad and them. Yeah, that's cool, but if they haven't been there, done that, as far as sobriety is concerned, it's not the same thing. Okay, nothing against my parents, because my parents support me. It took a minute because I burned some bridges. But my point is, they don't have an addiction. They don't have issues with drinking. Elora does. So I had to find a group of people or a person that could identify with what I'm going through and share and walk with me, or share that path of sobriety with me. Okay, so that way I can say, oh, okay, I can do this. But again, accountability partners are everything, but make sure that there's someone that is serious about it just as much as you are, because guess what, one day it could save your life. All right, I could go on a tangent about that. It'll probably be a separate video, because I really like that one. I got plenty to share about that. Okay, tip number 4 is you're allowed to leave. What? My bad. I had to look at my note. Yeah, sorry. I have a list. Right? So, tip number 4, you're allowed to leave unsafe rooms. You're allowed to leave unsafe rooms. You're like, what are you talking about? Look, I'm going to tell you straight up. Now, this is a sensitive topic for folks who don't want to listen to it, but guess what? It has to do with race. As you can see, my t-shirt says Sober Black Veteran for a reason, because I need folks to understand my blackness is a part of my recovery. And I'm tired of folks acting like it's not. I said it. Oh my gosh. You have no idea how I said it. I said it. Okay? You're allowed to leave a room that feels unsafe, doesn't feel right to you. And what I mean is this. I've been in recovery for a little bit, right? Just a little bit. I've been in for 18 years, and there have been times where I felt absolutely warm and welcome, like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Even though I was the only black person in the room, okay? Because if you're a black person, you know that when you walk in, you might scan to see if there's any other black people. It's just a natural thing that we do. At least I know I do. I'm always looking like, hey, anybody else here? Hey, you know? And when there isn't, there's a different kind of awareness or cautiousness or vigilance that I have in the room. I'm speaking for myself. I don't know about anybody else, but for me, I'm vigilant. I'm pretty cautious. I'm careful. However, in the rooms of recovery, I should not feel that way. However, there have been times where I had, okay? There have been times where I had to leave a room because I felt dismissed. I felt unseen. And there have been times where folks say, we don't talk about that here. Recovery isn't about race. False statement. And when I say false statement, that's what my spirit was saying. That's what my mind was saying. Every part of my being was like, nah, race is a part of recovery. I have to deal with race. I have to deal with being a woman. And I also have to deal with being a United States Navy veteran. All that applies to my recovery. I'm not going to dismiss any part of it. So I say that to say this, to say what? If there's a part of you that if you feel like you're in the room and you can't speak on behalf of any part of who you are, it's time to go. You don't have to stay there. There have been times where I literally opened the door, looked in the room, and noticed I wasn't warm. I didn't feel that welcoming spirit that I've had in early sobriety in different rooms. There have been times where, and I'm grateful. First of all, I'm grateful that I was far enough in my sobriety and knew myself well enough. I had built enough self-trust in myself to say I don't have to stay here, because I knew and I had experienced what love in recovery, selfless love in recovery was in my early sobriety, okay? So you don't have to stay there. And like I said before, as far as online meetings, all you got to do is hang up. You don't have to stay online. You can find you another one, go back to Google search, or you can join elorasong Healing Hub. Look, I don't know what else to say. There's communities out there for us, okay? That's all I'm saying. And when you find that place where you feel safe and loved and seen, stay there and heal there, okay? That's the place to be. Yeah, I could go on another tangent about that. But anyway, my point is, I said it. My womanhood, my blackness, and my veteran status are all a part of my recovery, okay? And anybody got something to say, to be over here and act like this. Bamboo, you know what I'm saying? Shoot, these folks don't know. OE used to be crazy. Let me stop. Next subject. What's the next subject? If you're navigating your first 90 days, starting again, or simply want to flourish in your recovery, you don't have to figure it out alone. At elorasong.com, you'll find my blog full of reflections and personal recovery tips and stories. You can even take the free recovery quiz to discover your healing style and what you need most right now. And while you're there, explore our journals, teas, and recovery greeting cards created to support you every single step of the way. Again, that's elorasong.com. Until next time, ciao for now. Okay, which tip are we on? Okay, we're on tip number 5. Tip number 5 is collect numbers. Okay, now I'll be straight up with you. I wasn't comfortable collecting numbers in early sobriety. That was like, oh my gosh. Like, I didn't like folks talking to me to begin with. I didn't like folks coming up at all. But, but you got to do it, right? It has to do with getting in contact and networking. And again, goes back to that accountability partners and friendships and rebuilding new friendships, right? But here's the deal. Before you go out and collect numbers, make sure you've checked your motives. Just like, like I said, any other relationship, you want to make sure that your motives are in check because you want to make sure one, like I said before, folks are just as serious about sobriety as you are. And secondly, when you start off with a genuine connection and you're not trying to fill a void of loneliness or you're bored, it's really a genuine connection that you want to build in your new way of life. Guess what? Those things, they blossom. They blossom. And let me explain. I had a homegirl. She recently passed from cancer. But let me tell you something. We got sober together. Okay? We started together and I was there with her when she passed. When I tell you the bonds that you have and you create just from simply saying, hey, what's your number? And you start hanging out with folks. That was my homegirl Tracy. We were ace boom coon, okay? I don't even know if I said that right. But anyway, we were road dogs. We were homegirls, ride or dies. And you build relationships just from simply asking, hey, can I have your number? I'd like to talk and hang out sometime. When I tell you, those are the best. Besties. You get besties. But the type of besties that you didn't think you could have. You know what I'm saying? Because why? You're not hiding anything from nobody. They know all your business. You just like you know all of theirs. You're not ashamed of your past when you chit chat with them. Guess what? They know your stuff. You know theirs. And you have a commonality as far as what it was like in your addiction and what it is like in sobriety. And you get to celebrate all of who you are together. Get them numbers. I've heard this before about being of service to others and make sure that you get out of yourself and your own problems. And when you help other people, you tend to grow and evolve and heal. It's almost like a selfish healing, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's like a catch-22. You're helping somebody else in order to help yourself, right? So, but you're like, okay, volunteer where? Well, for me in early sobriety, what I did was I volunteered at food shelters. Because, look, I didn't have money like that. Actually, I don't have money like that now, honestly. But my point is, if you don't have materialistic things you can give, I just know nothing else. Sobriety gives you time. Sobriety gives you time. You learn. Well, I'm going to speak for myself. When I put down that bottle, I realized I have a lot of time on my hands. What to do. So guess what? I was doing things like going to, like I said, food shelters, homeless shelters, serving food, even volunteering at recovery meetings. That's another thing you can do outside of your own place. Like go to a hospital where they actually have recovery meetings, or a juvenile facility where they have recovery meetings. If you're comfortable doing that, that's the giving of your time and your service and your sobriety to other people that need it. You understand? They're in a different place than you are. Even if you're 3 days sober or a week sober, you're learning and growing with other folks, period. It doesn't matter how much time you have under your belt. Being of service to others goes, I can't even describe how far it goes. It's a spiritual healing. It's not just, oh, I stopped drinking. It's a spiritual healing. And I'm going to touch on that later in another video. Sobriety is so much more than stop drinking. Okay? It's so much more than that. Don't get twisted. Don't let folks tell you, you have so much willpower. It's so much more. It's not just about that. I don't know why I'm laughing so hard. But anyway, volunteer. Stay grounded and volunteer. That'll help you build not only self-trust, but it'll also help you build in networking and learning and growing in yourself. Okay? All right, we are down to tip 7, which is move your body. Move your body. I don't know what the song is. Move your body. What? I just had a jam session for no reason. So you're like, what is that about, E? Jam sessions, move your body, jazzercise. Yes, I did jazzercise. Say something. I did jazzercise. Y'all, it's fun. Jazzercise is fun. I did jazzercise my first 3 years of sobriety. No, it was the latter part of sobriety. It was like, I want to say the second and third year. Yeah, that's when it happened. That's when jazzercise in H Town, Houston, Texas. Shout out. That's when that came down. That's when that came into my life. So anyway, first 90 days though, I was still running and doing all the things that I had done in the military. So I really enjoyed running in the military. You know, I was a runner even in high school. I ran track. So I enjoyed doing that. Whatever it is that you need to do to move your body, whether it be going to the roller rink, that's an idea. Go roller skating, go bike riding, even for a simple walk down the road. Guess what? That's moving your body and getting your body used to movement, obviously, but also a self-awareness of what your body feels. Because I know for me, alcohol numbed everything. Like I could walk into a daggone tree and not feel it. You understand? So that's why it's imperative that we go ahead and start learning how to walk again. Not walk again, but work out and move our bodies and get our bodies used to the physical aspects of recovery, because we get to reconnect with ourselves in that way as well. You get to listen to your body and learn, something don't feel right, physically. Because I know for me, I was ignoring all the pains, aches, and pains that I was feeling until I got sober. And I was like, oh, wait, now, what's that crackling sound in my knee? Oh, figure that. Getting old, getting old. So, but anyway, in all seriousness, have fun. Learn to get outside. I know right now it's early June. The beach. If you live near the beach, look, I'm jealous, first of all. Secondly, that's the perfect time to get outside. I know for me and Tracy, we go out to the beach all the time. Okay, all the time. And another thing is bike riding. You have parks, you have lakes you can go out to. And even if you're not near a body of water, there's still a lot of things you could do to get out in the open. Like I said, you could join the gym, or like I said, go online and have some type of go to some meetups online and figure out where you can go, like hiking. Look, I just learned this thing called hiking, y'all. Look, I go dancing again. Hiking it's a spiritual experience, but it's different. I don't know how to explain it, but we'll get into that later. Anyway, point is, move your body, get out there, learn how to move and listen to your body again, because that's going to be something that you're going to need in the future sooner than you think. You know what I'm saying? All right, next one. All right, tip number 8. But before I get to 8, let me tell you. Oh, never mind. We'll share another time. So, tip number 8. This video gonna be forever. I keep going on every topic. I need to do separate ones for each one. That's what I need to do. So anyway, creativity as self-discovery. That's tip number 8. When I tell you, that has to be one of my favorite ones ever, because early sobriety for me, I was like, what now? Like, what am I gonna do now? Like, I'm bored, or I don't know what to do. I'm trying to navigate. Who am I? What do I like? Like, it was all these things coming up. But creativity brings out a part of us, or brought out a part of me that was reawakened. Back in my high school days, I loved to write poetry. I was writing early on, and that came back. That came back in my early sobriety. I was able to write about my experiences, my everyday life, and journaling. I love to journal, y'all. I love to journal. Journaling, writing poetry, coloring books. That's another one. Coloring books. I don't care what anybody's saying. I love coloring books. Like, I love to color. You sit outside on a beautiful day, or even inside when it's raining, and color all freaking day. I just got a puzzle recently. One of my family members gave me what was it? Is it 1,000 piece? No, it's a 500-piece puzzle. Y'all, I'm excited. I haven't done puzzles in a very long time. So I feel like a kid. Like, so those things that light you up and be like, oh, I remember that time. I remember, it's fine. Do those things, okay? What's another thing that was creative that I enjoyed doing? Well, singing, but I'm not gonna do that right now because I know I ain't prepared. You know what I'm saying? Dancing, I love to dance, y'all. I still do Michael Jackson moonwalk. Look, I don't care. I do that in the middle of the living room just to excite, but because I'm excited. I get or Missy Elliott have a jam session, have some gospel music blasting, and I act like I'm the lead singer and I'm going out, that kind of stuff. It's just that kind of stuff. Just do that. And then here recently, I say recently, but not really recently. I mean, I have this thing about plants. My babies. I love babies. They're my green babies. Okay, I'm a plant mom. These are my babies. I had a plant that I had in early sobriety, and I'm gonna talk about that in another video. I know I keep saying that, but for real, in another video, I'm gonna talk about that. But plants have been a significant part of my recovery, and that's why I have plants everywhere, even on my website. They're everywhere. I currently have 24 plant babies, okay? But it's because they bring out something in me. Just like the coloring, just like the singing, like I said, everything else that I've mentioned are a part of the things that reawaken the child within me. And that's what you need to do. Find the thing that you remember doing as a child, or even now. You're like, oh, like that was fun. When you hear yourself say, oh, that was fun, or I really like that, keep doing it. I know it sounds simple, but in early sobriety, we're just like, I can't. Or even when we're stagnant in our sobriety, because I've been there too. When it seems like everything going wrong, what I used to do is not working anymore. Guess what? It's time to find something that really lights up our spirit. Hold on to that, keep doing it, and enjoy. Have fun. Which tip are we on? All right, tip number 9. Guess what? When sobriety feels like it's not working, y'all, this is going to happen throughout your recovery. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because it's a trip. It's a trip. I'm going to tell you right now. It's not all rainbows, unicorns, and running through the tulips, okay? You're not going to be like, I have arrived. I've graduated. No, it's not like that, ever. Ever. Life is going to present itself. It's going to throw you some curveballs. You're going to lose some friends, and family members going to look at you like you crazy. All that's going to happen in the first 90 days. And then some. Okay? So if anybody tell you otherwise, you need to stop listening to them. They're talking about, this is great. Everything's awesome. Everything just changes. Yeah, it does. And there's also when life presents itself and you still got to stay sober. You still got to learn how to navigate life without running to that drink or that drug to relieve the pain or to feel better or to celebrate and all the other things. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now, somebody fibbing to you, you better cut them off. They fibbing to you about recovery, and 90 days is awesome. This is the first 90 days. It's the greatest experience of my life. They better stop. You better tiptoe on out, like they do in the church. I'm sorry. I don't know why that came to mind. All right, so in all seriousness, what my notes say. Oh, okay. So ask yourself some questions. First of all, who am I doing this for? Okay. When I got kicked out of the military, before I got kicked out, I had to determine who was I doing this for. Okay, when in May 2007, May 29, 2007, I said, this is for me. This is not for the military. It's not about keeping a job. It's not for my mom, my dad, because they disappointed in me. It's not for my grandparents who love me so much, and I need to fulfill their legacy and do better for them and all the stuff they've done for me in my history. It's not for my brother who I'm hoping that looks up to me one day and I can inspire him. It's none of that. It's none of that. Have to be honest with yourself. Who am I doing this for? And they might just click in. 2, what was your last drunk like? Now, what was it like when you said, I'm finally done, I'm tired of this? Okay? When you said that, what was happening? Go back to that memory. You probably heard the term rewind the tape. That's what that is. You got to go back to that last drink and that last time you said, okay, I'm done. When you said, I'm done, go back to that moment. Another thing is, I said, who am I doing this for? I can't mention that. Oh, and where am I spiritually, really? Okay? There will be times that folks will bite you out and stuff like that. And I'm gonna make an entirely different video about what it's like to go out and all that stuff, and how to say no and all that to friends and family who want to encourage you to drink anyway, or cut you off because you don't drink anymore. That's another one. So you have to ask yourself, where are you really spiritually? Really, I mean, there's a term or acronym used in 12-step program. It's called HALT. HALT. Am I hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? Am I hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? If I'm any of these things, I probably need to tend to that and I'll feel better. And I'm gonna say 99.9% of the time, it's a true statement. Okay, so that's another tidbit that helped me quite a bit in my early sobriety, was using the HALT statement. And also I have to get into, gosh, there's so many videos I need to make, y'all. Look at God. He telling me, hurry up and get it done. Okay. I'm gonna get back to that. I'm gonna get back to resentments and fear of missing out because of want to kick it with friends and stuff like that, because that's a whole different ball game. Point is, ask yourself these questions: who am I doing this for? Why am I doing this? And where am I really spiritually, really? Because when that spirituality is just all jacked up, we need to do a gratitude list. That's nothing that helped me. HALT and gratitude list were like top tier, along with, of course, journaling. If you're not doing those things, I suggest do that, and that'll help you navigate, or get away from that question of, is this even working? And let me tell you, another thing I realized was that other people will see the changes before you do. Okay, and I think that was a lot of that's really helped me quite a bit, actually, to hear that from people who were around me or who knew me from before, and then they saw me make this decision to be sober, and then they started seeing some changes. So just know, when people start approaching you and or start talking with you and saying, yeah, I've noticed this changed about you, or this is different about you, take that as a compliment, okay? And it's all right. It's all right. Just know it's working. What you're doing day to day is not in vain. It's not for just cause, to say I'm not drinking anymore. No, this is a commitment. This is a commitment that you've made to yourself. And yes, it is working, and it will continue to work. You just need to keep doing what you're doing every second, minute, hour, day. Okay? Period. You got this. You got this. I'm telling you, it works, okay? I'm telling you, it's working. It's working. I'm going to attest to that. 18 years later, it still works, okay? You got this. You got this. All right, next tip. I don't think this is really a tip. I think this is like the final chapter, as far as what would I tell my day one self? What would I tell her? I would tell her that your standard of success, you're not a failure. You're going to redefine your standard of success. You're redefining your standards of success, because for me, when I got out the military, so like I mentioned before, I got sober May 29th of 2007. I got out the military in July of 2007, okay? And on my paperwork, my discharge paper, if anybody know about the military, when you leave, you get a form, and it says, the type of service you had, all that good stuff, your medals, and then it also talks about what type of discharge. Under that type of discharge for me, there's a note in all caps that says alcohol rehabilitation failure. That stuck with me for several years, actually. It messed me up. It was stigmatizing, it was traumatizing, and it made me feel less than. Like, whatever service, the 9.5 years I served was for nothing. That's how I felt, because not only did I see that as a failure, clearly, but also because other people did too. Corporations, jobs I tried to apply to, the whole gambit. So it was a tough deal. So for me, I would tell my day one self, you're not a failure. You are simply redefining what success looks like for you. This does not define you. This experience does not define you. It's actually the beginning. Oh my gosh. Ooh, I need to hear that. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. And I need to acknowledge my day one self, first of all, because I already know that me walking up to her, she'd be like, what? Like, what do you want? Like, can I help you? No nonsense, like, So I need to acknowledge her first and foremost for her resilience and her cautiousness and her vigilance and all the good things, okay? Because I wouldn't be here without her. So I already know that she'd be like, and how can I help you? Like, so let's acknowledge that first. Because she would not have a sit down with me and talk about, yeah, sure, let's talk. Like, whatever. I'm telling y'all, see, my friends have no idea how good they got it right now because I was not that chick. I was not that chick trying to talk to nobody. Next, like, let me learn. How may I help you? Ooh, that was funny. All right. So anyway, that's the first thing I would say. Another thing is, okay. Sobriety will feel heavy. Sobriety's gonna hurt. There's gonna be some awesome days where I'm like crying, where you're crying with tears full of joy, just bawling. My first 90 days, I was crying because I was crying out of welled up, like, emotions that I hadn't released yet. You understand? I was crying from the hope of something better than what I was going through. Like, there's something called the 9-step promises that are shared in 12-step programs. And I tell you, when people, the facilitator would ask me to read that, I would cry through it every time. I would cry through it because I could see myself in those 9-step promises, but I didn't know how I was going to get there. It seemed unfathomable. I was like, whatever. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I can hear it. I can almost see it. I want to see myself in that. I want to live that life. And I can say today I am. Yeah, there's still some days I'm like, what in the world is going on? But I'm sober through it. I know how to walk through things today. I know how to live through things today instead of just numbing it and suppressing it and ignoring it, okay? Another thing I would tell my day one self is it's okay to recover at your own pace in your own way. There's no need to compare your recovery path with anyone else. And I say that because, again, as a sober Black woman veteran, my experiences were completely different from anyone else's. I have met, I'll say this, in my first 90 days, I met a man that was sober. He'd been sober, I want to say maybe, over 20 years sober at the time. He was a white man, and he was a veteran. He'd been sober since the age of 16, and I met him in the military, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I was shocked. And it gave me hope. It was inspiring. However, at the same time, I also knew that, yeah, he didn't have the same experiences I did in the military, right? He was already sober. He'd already gone through some things, and plus he was a white man, okay? My experiences were completely different as far as not seeing other people that looked like me in recovery rooms early on. Secondly, my experience as a veteran or even serving in the military were completely different. You know, I felt a lot of pressure, not only from, growing up, my parents had put a lot of pressure on me, but they did let me know straight up, you're Black and you're a woman, you're going to have to overachieve, period. That's just the standard. Next, so bringing that upbringing into the military and having seen that even more so brought more pressure. Being called the N-word in the military and going home crying about it, or people not wanting to invite me to parties or inviting me to parties and then finding out, I'm the laughing stock, the shame that came with it, that kind of stuff. Wanted to be at the top of the military and work through, and which I did very well. But at the same time, when I got demoted twice, no one bothered to ask what happened, because I was doing great, y'all. I was doing really good. I was air traffic control in the military. I was doing great. But no one stopped to ask, why is this happening? Why is she not, why all of a sudden, why is she drinking like this? Why is she getting in trouble? What's going on? They just assumed, oh, she just got, she just another sailor that drank. No, there was so much more going on. And I decided to use alcohol to numb and to function and to live my life. Because there were some things that happened in the military that messed me up, y'all. It messed me up, and I had to heal through. So, I don't know what I could say on YouTube. So I'm gonna say it's an acronym called MST. Y'all can look it up. So that's one of the things that really made me just tighten up and not want to talk to anybody and overconsume and become dependent upon alcohol. Okay, so I'm saying all that to say this, to say what? OE, it's okay what you went through. It's okay. You don't have to hold on to that anymore. Your story is going to help other people in the future, your future self. Okay? That's what I would tell myself. 90 meetings, 90 days is worth it. First 90 days is your foundation. First 90 days is all about you. All right, let me see what I got next on my nuts. Let's get back to deuces. Let me see. All right, and that's about it, y'all. For those that are watching this and curious about sobriety or have been in sobriety for a while, just know that you're not alone. I'm sure I'm gonna say this 50 million times, like a broken record, but I want it to get through to you. You are not alone, and you're not broken. You're not messed up. You're not jacked up. Nothing's wrong with you. You are simply being planted. Okay, you're being planted into a new way of life. There is no such thing as a right way to do this, quote unquote. Okay, this is all about doing what works for you. All right, places like I said, 90 meetings in 90 days. Places they exist. Places where you can feel comfortable, and that's exactly why I created the elorasong Healing Hub. It's exclusively for Black women veterans in or seeking sobriety, and that way you have a community of women that get it. Yes, it's new. It's brand spanking new, literally. It's on my website, waiting for people to join. Created just for us. All right. So until next time, looking forward to making the next video. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. This is a new thing, y'all, for me. You know, I have a lot of other videos, but this series is going to be centered around us and what we need, and for folks that are looking or seeking sobriety. I'm just really excited about it. So until then, stay encouraged and just know that you got this. 1 second, 1 minute, 1 day. 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day at a time. Okay? You got this. Until next time, deuces. Ciao for now. Hey, I forgot who sang the original of that, but that's my jam right there. Hey, yeah. Get issues. I'm having too much fun with this.